Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at challenge number 46, a special horror issue. And right now you're going, wow, this guy plans far ahead. He even got challenged to line up with Halloween. Nah, happy coincidence. I actually took a look at parts of this issue very early on my channel. I did a video about adding horror to your Traveler game. And we're going to discuss that a little bit. And we're just going to go through and see what this had to offer. I like this issue because it did add some nice horror, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how tough it is to add horror to a game like Traveler. But here we are. We have Just Like Magic for Mega Traveler, and we have some Shadowrun stuff from Michael Stackpole. Michael Stackpole, he of the excellent Battletech novels in the very late 80s, early 90s, and some of the Star Wars Rogue Squadron novels. I actually met Michael Stackpole at a convention about a year and a half ago, and he and I kind of stepped over into a corner and just started talking a little bit. He's about my age, so he's a little younger than me, but close to my age. And we started talking a little bit about stuff in general, and he seemed surprised that I'd read the Rogue Squadron stuff. So I think he was pleased that there was somebody that had read that. He was there repping Battletech. But anyway, challenge number 46, special horror issue. I love Challenge Magazine. This was the successor to the JTAZ. When they stopped publishing JTAZ, they morphed it into Challenge on issue 25 of Challenge. So here we have an inside ad for Buck Rogers, Step into the World of Tomorrow from TSR. And it was available in November of 1989. Yes, Buck Rogers. TSR tried like crazy to get Buck Rogers to be a thing again because some of the money backing TSR at the time came from the Buck Rogers heir. I'm not going to go into that story, but Google it, you'll see it. Challenge makes it all come alive. With Challenge, you can explore the universe. And all the stuff that Challenge said, yes, I want to subscribe to Challenge. I'd love to subscribe to Challenge. It's not around anymore. Neither is Game Designer's Workshop, unfortunately. And then we have letters from the readers and editorial from Lauren Wiseman. Alternative history, the hottest topic in science fiction, now becomes the hottest topic in board games. 2 new alternative history games from publishers of Command Magazine, Mississippi Banzai, and NATO's Nukes and Nazis. It's Mississippi Banzai and NATO Nukes and Nazis. Okay. This is from XTR Corporation in San Luis Obispo, California. I'm not familiar with these games. That's kind of interesting. This issue is from, I think, 89. Nothing on the masthead. Well, the masthead's probably later in the magazine. We'll take a look if we can find it. Attack of the Mudmen. This is for Twilight 2000. They always led with Twilight 2000 in this era. And it's basically a horror-driven story for Twilight 2000, which was their... the mook bombs have dropped and you're staggering around trying to find out a way to continue living. And then we continue on our article and we get an ad for Paper Mayhem, the informative play-by-mail magazine. Play-by-mail magazine. Discover the world of play-by-mail. I never did play-by-mail. I know a couple of my viewers have, and one is saying they're still involved with some play-by-mail. I think it's play-by-email now, but the revolution enters a new phase, Gamescape or Battlescape. This stuff was so coveted in the 80s and 90s, and it kind of went out of print. It's back now. I actually saw it when I was at Gen Con in August. Unfortunately, its price is a little beyond my reach. So they are out of Portland, Oregon, GeoHex, at least then they were. And then we have an ad for Mega Traveler. That was the current edition of Traveler, and this is for Digest Group Publications out of Boise, Idaho. They did some of the best gaming supplements that were available at the time. I absolutely love the Digest Group stuff. Note to whoever is holding the Digest Group material, your stuff is aging and the value is going down, unfortunately. A lot of folks would happily buy it, but time is a-wasting. Starship Operator's Manual was outstanding, by the way. Okay, Challenge Briefs. So this is just some stuff that's going to be out there for various role-playing games. We have, Cyberpunk, Merc 2000, for me, from ICE, Iron Crown Enterprises. They did a lot of stuff. They weren't doing Silent Death yet. And then continuing that out, we have a Share the Adventure High Colonies, the science fiction role-playing game ad. And this is from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Don't know High Colonies either. Just Like Magic, Witches and Wizards and Mega Traveler. This is kind of neat. It talks about how you can have different science or psionics fill the void, fill the place of magic in your campaign. Arthur C. Clarke, I believe, is the one that's credited, and I'm paraphrasing that. High enough tech magic is enough tech is indistinguishable from magic, and this is a nice article that calls that out. I did try a little bit of this in Traveler. I tried it in the 90s and again in the early 2000s, kind of a Halloween game for Traveler. It didn't really land. Traveler doesn't lend itself well to horror as such. Mystery, absolutely. Investigation, absolutely. But horror is not one of Traveler's strong suits. And that's fine. That's not, that's why you play a game like Call of Cthulhu. Whoops. You play Call of Cthulhu or a game like that. Continuing out our article, Double, Toil and Trouble. There you go. Side drugs, fast drugs. Lots of good information on psionics in here. Fondness for Pets, of course, is talking about familiars. This is a neat article. I remember when I first read this article, I had just bought the magazine, and I was on lunch break at a mall, because I used to drive a lot for my job, so I'd stop at various malls for lunch, and I remember reading this one at Randhurst Mall up in Mount Prospect. Long gone. They tore that down, I think, in 2009 or so. But I like that mall. They had a neat store in there that sold some Traveler stuff. So there we go. And then we've got, finishing out the article, we've got Look North, the Canadian Wargamers Journal. And these guys were out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Traveler News Service. Yes, what's the rebellion doing these days? What's everybody up to? Well, here's your TNS. I love TNS. I miss it. HPPE. I'm not sure what that stands for. And this is for which game system? Don't be coy. Oh, this is Shadowrun, I think. Oh, Mega Traveler. It's Mega Traveler. Okay, so it's a Mega Traveler adventure. I never liked when they did backgrounds like this, simply because it's hard to read. I'm glad this never caught on. And then Fated Voyage for Mega Traveler. And this is another adventure, but dealing in horror. And some of the stuff in here is usable as even, for regular Traveler, for Mongoose Traveler, whichever version of Traveler you're playing. You can easily translate this stuff. That's one of the things I love about Traveler. I have read all versions of Traveler, and I have played almost all versions. I got to get around to getting the last couple I haven't played, which would be Hero Traveler, T5, and Mongoose 1, believe it or not. Those are the only 3 Travelers I've never played. So I got to get around to playing those. I'll talk my guys into doing games just so I can try the systems. But there you go. Long article for it with the background data and everything. I like this. I like this issue a lot. I remember it. That's why I remembered it so well. Continuing out our article, we have The Ultimate Mega Traveler Adventure, Part 3 by Phil Morrissey. And there we go. And then for more information on the Abyss Rift, see the Lost Treasure Ships of the Abyss Rift from challenge number 44. So there you go. The Tree of Souls for Space 1889. I'm given to understand I've called it steampunk, and I've been corrected a few times that it's not steampunk. Oh well, close enough for me. There we go. So if you want to go back into 1889 or 1889 and play, you can. The Future has Evolved, Combat Interstellar Elite. This is like a little insert that they had in here advertising this game. There we go, Combat Interstellar Elite. Kind of neat. Journey to Another Time and Space. Space 1889 from Paragon Software. Yes, a video game. Coming soon. Some more Marvel Adventures from Paragon Software. And here we have Space 1889, and of course the Jordani Experience, or Conspiracy. I played that for hours. Never really got very deep into the game, but I used to really enjoy Friday night. Everything's kind of calm. Just sitting at the computer playing some Mega Traveler Jordani Conspiracy. Still have it. Don't have anything to run it on. Continuing out our horror article for Space 1889. And then we get a look at challenge conventions. So what conventions could we have gone to back in 1991? Wow. So this looks like this issue is from 90 or 91. Yeah, it's got to be from 90 because it's talking about January of 91 in Australia. And then we have an ad for Cyber Roleplay, playing in its best, Cyberspace from Iron Crown Enterprises. Yes, they got in on that a little bit too, the cyberpunk kind of stuff. Then we have Contagion. And then, let's see, what system is Contagion for? That is for 2300 AD. And then we have Twilight 2000. 2300 AD, I'll get to that in a minute. Right now, Twilight 2000, nice double-page house ad. For the new Twilight 2000, I did play Twilight 2000. Back in the 80s and 90s, we had a guy who was really into it, and he jammed it for us. It was fine. It was fine. This is from GDW. And then continuing out, our 2300 AD, which is really popping on Mongoose' website because they have just started doing the Kafir invasion in 2300 AD, and there's a lot of excitement about that. So take a look at their webpage if you want to see more about the current version of 2300. Continuing on our article, our adventure for 2300. And then we have an ad for Game Master International, the Independent Fantasy Gaming Monthly. And this is from Ontario, which is probably why I didn't see it much down here. I don't remember seeing this one. Nice slick ad. Dark Conspiracy, an ancient horror grips the earth. Coming in February 1991 from GDW. I have Dark Conspiracy. Game Designers Workshop, one of the last games they published after they unfortunately published Dangerous Journeys by Gary Gygax. That kind of killed the company. But Dark Conspiracy is getting a rebirth. Mongoose is going to be doing that as part of the deal where Mongoose bought all the various properties from Mark Miller to own Traveller. They also own some of the other stuff from GDW that Mark Miller retained. One of those is Dark Conspiracy. It's coming back. So I'm kind of interested in that. That I will take a look at. So finishing out our 2300 AD ad. And then we have a GDW product distribution where you can get the stuff around the world. Boy, GDW was huge in its day. From Australia to West Germany. Yes, you heard me right, folks. West Germany. Dead Time. A series of bizarre vampire murders sweeps Night City. It's up to the PCs to figure it out. And this is for Cyberpunk. There you go. I never played Cyberpunk. Quicksilver Sayonara by Michael Stackpole. And this looks like it's fiction for Shadowrun. That's kind of cool. I'll show this to my son Adam. He used to play Shadowrun in college. I'll show him the fiction. Michael Stackpole writes a good story. Very long story. These pages are sticking together. Okay, and then we have an ad for High Stakes. It's a bi-monthly fanzine. We'll give you more for your gaming dollar. And these guys were out of High Stakes out of Ogden, Utah. The Quick and the Undead, playing a vampire PC in Shadowrun. Okay? And then subscribe to White Wolf. 12 issues for only $22. Almost 40% savings over a single issue price. And you get all kinds of different games that these guys covered. White Wolf. I don't know that I have any of those. White Wolf Publishing out of Anniston, Alabama. I don't know if I have any of those. It's interesting. 90, I was an expectant daddy. My son was born in 91, my oldest, and didn't have a lot of money to spend on games that I didn't absolutely want to have the stuff for, so anything that I would have might be speculated on, didn't at this time, what with the new baby on the way and all. Mega Traveler, an exciting new dimension to your gaming adventures with detailed Starship deck plans. I liked these. These are neat. We got the laboratory ship and the subsidized merchant from Seeker Gaming Systems out of Mountain Home, Idaho. And Twin Engine Gaming presents Out Time Days, a game of time travel in alternate dimensions, and Space Combat, a pure tactical environment for your space combat. And the Twin Engine Gaming brought us these. They're out of San Jose, California. Seeker Games had some really nice stuff for Mega Traveler. The House on the Hill for Torg. Torg is a game, perfect case in point, that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. I was interested in it and almost bought into it. But again, expectant dad, baby on the way, finances being a little tight, I ended up not buying into it. And I always kind of regretted it because Torg looked like a pretty fun game. Here's some feedback results for last issue, or for issue 44 rather. Air Power, the Journal of Air Combat Gaming, from Air Power Publications, LaGrange, Georgia. And enlist now for a new style of adventure. How many times have you played a war game, read a history book, seen a war movie, and said to yourself, what was it like to go over the top? Well, I don't personally ever want to know that, because that was a really, really rough thing to do. But these guys were 20th Century Tactical Studies Group out of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Okay. The Space Eaters, beings of myth and mythos for Cthulhu. Ah, Cthulhu. H.P. Lovecraft's baby. There you go. I've read a lot of the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. It's really good. He builds good tension, and just he does a nice job with it. It was very interesting reads. And then we have the horror out of Partridgeville for the Call of Cthulhu, game that lends itself beautifully to horror. And continuing on our article there with some nice maps, we get the fun of role-playing. Important moments in history. This is Rappaport Games, Attack of the Humans. Continuing on our article, and then we have the essence of role-playing. Rapport Games is proud to present Attack of the Humans. And then we have It Came From Beyond the Stars. Came From Beyond the Stars. For the Late, Late, Late Show. Another game I'm not really familiar with. And then we finish out the article there. And we go to Mobius 1, Science Fiction Gaming at its Best. Wanted, Interstellar Overlords, Despots, and Emperors. Mobius 1 is a play-by-mail game for you from Flying Buffalo Incorporated out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So play-by-mail 35 years ago. Imperial Research Station 13 for Star Wars. I remember reading this article. This is West End Star Wars when it was published, but you could easily adapt this to just about any science fiction setting. I remember this is a really good article. Did build the creeps pretty nicely. Challenge Reviews. Ravenloft, which was just out in 1990 from TSR Incorporated. Nice review of that. I liked Ravenloft, the box set. I liked it a great deal. At Your Door by Chaosium for Call of Cthulhu. Warg the Orcs, and this is from Games Workshop. And then we have an ad here for Graph Simulations, great postal game since 1982. And these guys were out of St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And then we have Challenge Classifieds. I used to look at these all the time because they had some stuff for sale. So you could actually write these guys. In one case, one guy was pretty close to where I lived. Unfortunately, I already had the item that he was selling. But I always read the Challenge Classifieds, their personal ads. Voyages, SF, can't get enough ideas for your campaign? This is a quality, highly illustrative magazine that'll do it for you from Starlance Publications out of Mesa, Washington. Serious Command, did you ever think you could run a country better than the other guy or gal? Here you can prove it with interdimensional games. And where the future of play-by-mail gaming, the next empire from Cyborg Games. And this guy was out of New Paltz, New York, and these were out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we get to what's coming for next issue. I used to love reading the next issue stuff. Challenge, you can give your feedback here. And then, in my opinion, a little editorial by Mark Miller, the creator of Traveler. And we had promised for Mega Traveler. It seems like an easy, if somewhat illegal way out of our debts, or is it? The Baker's Dozen, Hinterworld's Adventure, and Knights of the Blue Feather, 2 Small Steps and more. So lots of Mega Traveler promised in the next issue. And then we have Shadowrun, Street Samurai Catalog. And then DNA DOA from Dave Arneson, co-creator of Dungeons & Dragons. Street Samurai Catalog. That's interesting. And then we get the back page. The back ad is for Mega Traveler, the core stuff. What you would need to get into the game. I loved Mega Traveler. I jumped in with both feet. got the box set for my wife as a Christmas gift in 87, or 87 or 88, I forget which. It came out in 87. I'm not positive when I got it, but it was a gift from my wife, and I still cherish it. So that's it. That's a special horror issue of Challenge number 46 from 1990. Late in the year, so this was out probably right around Halloween. I remember reading it in October, so I'm pretty sure it was out around then. But I read it, as I said, originally right when I bought it in a food court in a mall, but I finished reading it throughout the next couple of weeks, so it's possible it wasn't out right then. I don't know when this issue was published. I know it was late 90. But there you have it. It's a nice look at Challenge Magazine. Let me know what you think. Do you like Challenge Magazine? These are all available, by the way, on Drive-Thru-RPG for like $2 each. And a lot of these are absolutely worth having. I always love Challenge Magazine. But let me know what you think. Is Challenge Magazine all that, or am I making too much? Who knows? I love it. I love the issues that were Traveler heavy. This one has a good amount of Traveler in it. And that's primarily why I bought it. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. Let's keep growing the channel. Take a look at the Patreon. And I'll see you next time on page 121.